In the early years of World War II, as the German Wehrmacht swept across Europe with unprecedented speed, their infantry forces relied on a mixture of bolt-action rifles and early machine guns to dominate the battlefield. Yet it soon became clear that the existing MG34, while revolutionary at the time of its introduction in 1934, had limitations that would constrain the Germans in prolonged, high-intensity combat. It was expensive to produce, mechanically delicate, and required highly trained crews to maintain a high rate of fire. The Wehrmacht needed a solution, something faster, more reliable, and more devastating in its impact. The answer came in 1942 with the development of the MG42, or MG42, designed by Werner Gruner at the Metal- und Lackierwarenfabrik in Dörbeln. Gruner, an accomplished engineer, had already contributed to the MG34's design and sought to improve upon it by creating a weapon that could be mass-produced, withstand battlefield abuse, and deliver firepower unmatched by any contemporaneous machine gun. The MG42 was engineered with stamped metal components, a simplified mechanism, and an innovative recoil-operated system that allowed it to fire at a blistering rate of 1,200 rounds per minute, earning it the nickname Hitler's Buzzsaw among Allied soldiers. The MG42's rate of fire was not merely a statistical novelty, it redefined infantry tactics. German doctrine emphasized the machine gun as the backbone of the infantry squad. Unlike previous models, the MG42 allowed a single team to lay down sustained, supremely intimidating fire while minimizing reload times and mechanical failure. The weapon's distinctive sound, a rapid, almost continuous staccato rattle, was enough to demoralize enemy troops, leading to fear and hesitation even before the first bullet struck. On the battlefield, the MG42 became both a physical and psychological weapon, capable of shaping the course of engagements by sheer presence. Production efficiency was another critical factor. The MG42 used stamped sheet metal parts instead of milled components, reducing manufacturing time dramatically and allowing factories to produce thousands of weapons quickly. This adaptation was crucial for Germany, which faced increasing material shortages and pressure on its war economy. Unlike the MG34, which required skilled labor and intricate machining, the MG42 could be assembled and repaired in the field with minimal tools and expertise. This design philosophy made it a versatile and reliable weapon for soldiers across all theaters of war, from the deserts of North Africa to the forests of the Eastern Front. The operational debut of the MG42 occurred in 1942 during the North African Campaign. Units equipped with the new machine gun quickly demonstrated its lethality. The rapid rate of fire allowed German squads to suppress enemy positions, repel attacks, and dominate open terrain. Allied troops, often armed with slower-firing weapons, were caught off guard by the MG42's firepower. Soldiers described the sensation as being caught in a wall of lead, unable to move without risking death. The MG42's capability to fire bursts in both short controlled sequences and longer sustained volleys made it flexible for both defensive and offensive operations. Field reports from the Eastern Front in 1943 highlighted the MG42's impact in both urban and rural combat. During the Battle of Kursk, for example, German infantry using MG42s held defensive positions with astonishing effectiveness, covering the advance of armor and infantry while breaking Soviet assaults with disciplined fire. The combination of high-volume fire and battlefield reliability made the MG42 an indispensable tool in the Wehrmacht's arsenal. It was not merely a machine gun. It was a tactical force multiplier, capable of turning the tide of engagements by imposing the Germans' will on the battlefield. The psychological effect of the MG42 cannot be overstated. Its signature sound, a continuous high-speed roar, instilled fear and hesitation among Allied troops. Accounts from soldiers in Normandy and during the Italian campaign describe the terror of crossing open fields under MG42 fire. Its presence influenced enemy behavior as much as its bullets did. Attackers learned to advance in cover, scatter, and take extreme caution, effectively slowing their operations. In this way, the MG42 served as both a physical and psychological instrument, shaping engagements through intimidation as much as lethality. Despite its formidable reputation, the MG42 was also remarkably practical. It was designed to be easily disassembled, cleaned, and maintained under combat conditions. Soldiers could replace barrels quickly to prevent overheating from sustained fire, a critical advantage that allowed German squads to maintain continuous fire where other nations' machine guns would have jammed. The belt-fed ammunition system further enhanced operational efficiency, enabling long bursts without frequent reloads. These features collectively made the MG42 a weapon that combined raw firepower, reliability, and ease of use in ways previously unseen on the battlefield. The MG42's influence extended beyond World War II. Allied forces captured and studied the weapon, taking note of its rate of fire, mechanical simplicity, and psychological impact. Postwar designs, including the American M60 and the German MG3, drew heavily on Gruner's innovations. The MG42 set a new benchmark for machine guns. A combination of manufacturing efficiency, battlefield reliability, and devastating firepower that would inform the next generation of automatic weapons worldwide. By 1943, the MG42 had become a cornerstone of German infantry tactics across multiple theaters of war. Its high rate of fire allowed German squads to dominate defensive positions, suppress enemy infantry, and coordinate closely with artillery and armor. On the Eastern Front, during the intense winter battles around Stalingrad, MG42 teams provided lethal covering fire for infantry advances while simultaneously slowing Soviet attacks. The weapon's combination of speed, accuracy, and psychological impact made it nearly impossible for enemy troops to maneuver in the open. The MG42 was not limited to defensive operations. In offensive engagements, it allowed German soldiers to lay down a rolling hail of fire while advancing, pinning enemy troops and enabling rapid maneuver by armored units. Its mobility and rapid deployment meant that a small team could have an outsized effect on the battlefield, striking and relocating before counterattacks could be organized. This tactical versatility was particularly evident during operations in Italy, where rugged terrain and urban combat demanded rapid repositioning and adaptability. Soldiers across all branches praised the MG42 for its mechanical reliability. Unlike the MG34, which could jam under prolonged use or in harsh conditions, the MG42 functioned effectively even when exposed to mud, sand, or extreme cold. The quick-change barrel system allowed crews to maintain continuous fire during extended engagements, a feature that proved critical in battles such as Monte Cassino, where sustained machine gun fire was essential to hold or seize strategic positions. The weapon's belt-fed mechanism enabled prolonged bursts, while its simplicity meant that field repairs could be made quickly under fire, maintaining operational tempo. The MG42 also became a weapon of intimidation, earning its infamous nickname among Allied soldiers, Hitler's Buzzsaw. The staccato roar of bullets was unmistakable, creating fear and hesitation in opposing forces. Accounts from Normandy in 1944 describe soldiers freezing in the open under MG42 fire, unable to advance or maneuver without risking death. The psychological effect was compounded by the weapon's accuracy and rate of fire, making even lightly defended positions deadly. The MG42's ability to demoralize the enemy complemented its physical lethality, establishing it as one of the most feared weapons of the war. Innovation in manufacturing allowed Germany to produce MG42s at scale despite increasing wartime resource shortages. Stamped sheet metal components replaced more complex machine parts, reducing production time and labor requirements. By the end of 1944, thousands of MG42s were in service across all theaters, ensuring that German infantry squads could rely on a consistent, high-quality automatic weapon. This mass production capability distinguished the MG42 from other contemporary machine guns, which often suffered from slow manufacturing and inconsistent quality. Field deployment of the MG42 demonstrated its adaptability to diverse combat scenarios. In the dense forests of the Ardennes during the Battle of the Bulge, MG42 teams used the weapon to cover ambushes and choke points, creating kill zones that maximized its high rate of fire. In North Africa, its rapid bursts provided covering fire in desert assaults and defensive operations. The versatility of the weapon meant that it could be mounted on bipods, tripods, vehicles, or even tanks, enhancing its effectiveness across both infantry and combined arms engagements. The MG42's legacy extended beyond its immediate tactical advantages. Its design influenced post-war machine guns worldwide, including the American M60 and the German MG3. Designers studied its high rate of fire, quick-change barrel system, and ease of manufacturing, recognizing that these features could redefine modern automatic weapons. The MG42 set a new standard for machine gun effectiveness, balancing reliability, firepower, and psychological impact in ways that few contemporaries could match. The combination of production efficiency, tactical flexibility, and battlefield effectiveness meant that the MG42 was not merely a weapon, it was a force multiplier. German infantry units equipped with MG42s could hold strategic positions against superior numbers, support armored advances, and suppress entire enemy formations. Commanders relied on the MG42 to shape engagements and control the battlefield, understanding that its presence alone could alter enemy plans and tactics. Its reputation grew with each campaign, spreading fear and respect alike. By 1944, the MG42 had established itself as a cornerstone of German infantry doctrine and a symbol of fear on the battlefield. During the Normandy campaign, Allied forces encountered the weapon in full effect. Soldiers recalled the staccato roar of the MG42 cutting through the air like a mechanical buzzsaw, a sound that caused even veteran troops to freeze in open fields. In hedgerow fighting, MG42 teams used the weapon's rapid fire to pin advancing infantry, while coordinated assaults by Panzer IVs and Tiger tanks moved in behind the cover of the hail of bullets. Its psychological and tactical impact reshaped the nature of defensive combat in Western Europe. The MG42's rate of fire was unprecedented. Capable of up to 1,200 rounds per minute, it could sweep across entire fields in seconds, preventing maneuver and forcing enemy soldiers into cover. Allied troops often overestimated the number of soldiers firing, attributing the rapid bursts to entire squads rather than a single MG42 team. This misperception amplified its psychological effect, with accounts describing panicked soldiers abandoning positions, retreating under cover, or succumbing to sheer intimidation. Its distinctive sound became a hallmark of German defensive strategy, a sonic weapon as potent as its bullets. Field manuals for the MG42 emphasized tactical versatility. Infantry squads were trained to deploy the weapon on bipods for mobility, tripods for sustained fire, or vehicle mounts for combined arms support. Quick-change barrels ensured that firepower could be maintained under intense combat conditions. Crews were drilled on firing in controlled bursts to preserve ammunition, but the weapon could also unleash continuous volleys during critical defensive engagements. This combination of adaptability and lethality allowed small teams to exert control far beyond their numbers, often determining the outcome of skirmishes or delaying larger enemy advances. On the Eastern Front, the MG42 played a pivotal role in defensive operations during battles such as Kursk and the retreat from Leningrad. German soldiers relied on the MG42 to cover withdrawals, protect supply lines, and defend fortified positions against overwhelming Soviet assaults. Its reliability in harsh conditions, mud, snow, and extreme cold, was critical. Unlike many contemporary weapons, the MG42 continued to function effectively even under mechanical stress or environmental extremes. Its belt-fed ammunition system allowed sustained bursts, and its modular design facilitated field repairs, ensuring that German squads could maintain continuous fire when it mattered most. The psychological impact of the MG42 on Allied forces cannot be overstated. In Italy, during the Gothic Line defensive operations, American and British troops described the weapon as a near-immovable wall of sound and lead. Its staccato rattle caused hesitation and disrupted unit cohesion, forcing attackers to rethink strategies and often resulting in higher casualties. Even when positions were ultimately overcome, the presence of an MG42 inflicted both physical and mental stress, shaping the tempo and tactics of engagements. This dual effect, lethal in bullets and intimidating in sound, cemented the MG42's reputation as one of the most feared weapons of World War II. Beyond direct combat, the MG42 influenced post-war military doctrine and weapons design. Allied forces captured the weapon and studied its engineering, recognizing innovations such as stamp metal production, quick-change barrels, and high cyclic rates of fire. These features informed the development of post-war machine guns, including the American M60 and the German MG3, which inherited many of the MG42's core principles. Its legacy extended far beyond World War II, shaping modern automatic weapons and reinforcing the value of combining reliability, firepower, and manufacturability in military design. The MG42's combination of rapid-fire capability, battlefield reliability, and psychological dominance redefined infantry engagements. It allowed German squads to establish control over defensive positions, cover advances, and suppress enemy movements with unprecedented efficiency. Commanders relied on it not just for its lethal output, but for its ability to influence enemy behavior. The staccato roar of its fire became a tactical tool, an audible symbol of German military discipline and engineering prowess. Each engagement demonstrated that the MG42 was more than a machine gun. It was a force multiplier, a battlefield equalizer, and a psychological weapon all at once. By late 1944, as the Allies advanced through Western Europe, the MG42 remained a critical component of German defensive strategy. It was deployed in hedgerows, forests, urban centers, and fortified positions, maintaining its reputation as a weapon that could dominate the battlefield despite dwindling German resources. Its ease of manufacture, modular design, and adaptability ensured that even in the final months of the war, the MG42 continued to challenge Allied forces and leave a lasting impression on those who faced it. As 1945 dawned, the MG42 had cemented its reputation as one of the most effective and feared weapons of World War II. German infantry relied on it for nearly every defensive engagement, from the forests of the Ardennes to the ruins of German cities under Allied advance. The weapon's high rate of fire, reliability under harsh conditions, and psychological impact on enemy troops made it indispensable. Even as the German war effort collapsed under overwhelming Allied pressure, the MG42 continued to exact a deadly toll on advancing forces, illustrating the enduring tactical value of well-engineered firepower. During the final battles in Germany, MG42 teams were often deployed to cover retreats, hold chokepoints, and delay Allied advances. Urban combat highlighted the weapon's adaptability. Crews mounted it on tripods in building windows, employed it in ambushes along narrow streets, and coordinated with infantry and armored units for maximum effect. Its rapid-fire capability allowed small teams to control entire streets, create kill zones, and suppress superior numbers, making it a force multiplier in even the most desperate defensive actions. The psychological effect of the MG42 remained as potent in the final months of the war as it had been at Kursk or Normandy. Allied soldiers repeatedly described the terror induced by the weapon's staccato roar, often believing multiple guns were firing when only a single team operated the weapon. This fear slowed advances, disrupted unit cohesion, and forced commanders to rethink tactical plans under extreme pressure. In many ways, the MG42 achieved as much through intimidation as through its actual bullets, earning its enduring nickname Hitler's Buzzsaw. After the war, the MG42's design influenced generations of machine guns worldwide. Its innovations in stamped metal production, quick-change barrels, belt-fed ammunition, and high cyclic rate became a model for post-war weapons, including the American M60 and the German MG3. Military engineers and historians alike recognize the MG42 as a revolutionary leap in small arms design, an example of how engineering, production efficiency, and tactical innovation could combine to create a weapon that redefined firepower. In conclusion, the MG42 was more than a machine gun. It was a battlefield equalizer, a psychological weapon, and a testament to German engineering during World War II. Its devastating firepower, reliability under extreme conditions, and terrifying sound reshaped infantry tactics, instilled fear in enemy soldiers, and influenced generations of post-war weapon design. The story of the MG42 demonstrates how a single, well-designed weapon can have profound effects on both the physical and psychological dimensions of warfare, leaving a legacy that endures in military history to this day.